Hi, everyone. Welcome to
Where's
All About
Tony?
the Joy. Hey, Rick. I can't believe you just did that. That is going to be the what do we call this?
I don't know.
It's not the logo, but it's something.
Yeah.
All About the Joy. Yeah, that clip was kind of funny, right?
It was.
I thought it was so good.
Oh my gosh.
So, how are you doing? What's going on with you?
Doing all right. It was crazy busy at work. I definitely did not finish everything I was supposed to do, but we'll try to catch up tomorrow. What are you gonna do? I'm only one person. I can only do what I can do.
So, when you say you haven't caught up with work yet, like, do you always finish at the end of the day everything you got to do?
For the most part, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. There's sometimes there's like little things I'm like, oh, that's not a rush I could rate. But there was some things that I really should have tried to get done, but I just couldn't. It was just too busy.
Okay, are you the type of person though that if you don't get something done, then you kind of turn around and you're like stressed about it and you can't sleep and
No, I try as soon as the
Rick's like, no, I also take naps during the day. Thank you, Carmen.
once the clock hits 5:30, work don't exist no more. Like I don't think about it. I'm like, on to the next thing I gotta do. I ain't have time to think about that no more. Once in a blue moon, not gonna lie, once in a blue moon, I'll be like laying down, getting ready, okay, and I'm gonna sleep, and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't do something. But that's rare. I
I
really think
hear
about work.
you.
Cynthia!
Hi,
Hi.
Cynthia. How you doing?
Oh, I feel like a chicken with my head cut off. Hold on,
What
I'm
do you
just
mean
trying
a
to
chicken with your head
fix
cut?
this.
Ooh, we gotta get some. We both clearly just took a shower.
Yeah.
So why are you just freshly washed, Cynthia?
Oh, so from work, I had to come home, drop off some stuff, go all the way to Brockton, which is like a half hour away, pick up the baby because the baby's going to be here this weekend. Then we went to go get food. We finally got back probably about 8:30. I was like, I gotta run and get a shower.
Oh man, yeah, I gotta be on Carmen's show. That was your only thought process, right?
I like kicked Juan out the room and everything.
Okay, and that's how it should be. Okay, no spouses allowed. No. So I was just finishing up with Rick, asking him this question about does he after like if he has a day like he had today where he didn't finish all his work at 5:30, does it stress him out? Can he not sleep at night or whatever? And he answered, yeah, no.
For the most part.
But go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, so for the most part, yeah, I don't. Well, only once in a while, I'm like, I'll remember something I should have did. And I was like, oh man, Mario, Tony in the
Hi, Mario.
Tony's
Hi,
in the
Tony.
building.
Tony's in the building.
Tony, I sent you an email.
Oh, okay. Are you going to be going over to Ted's space? Is that what's
Oh my
happening?
gosh, that's so funny.
Are you trying to? I'm just kidding. So you know what? I actually had a great week at work, even though every place at work there's some drama going on. But I think I've come to this realization that I'm going to do this for another year and I'm out. I know, like I came up with this the other day, and I'm like, oh, Cynthia, Tony just said, laugh out loud,
Okay.
and I responded. Okay.
Okay, haven't checked it yet. So
Okay, we all want to know now. Okay, we're just gonna be like Cynthia and Tony got something going on because they communicating secretly. I really came to this realization, like I think it was last weekend. I woke up and I had finished an interview that I did, and I was like, you know what? As much as I hate editing, y'all know I hate editing, whatever. The process of doing the prep work, the conversation, the trying to figure it out, I don't mind that as much as I do managing teams or trying to work with people in offices. Everybody just, it's just not what I've ever wanted to
there's
do.
too many personalities you have to like deal with.
Okay, here's the difference. When I'm on set with one of my clients or whatever, it's so much more fun because it's a creative environment and people are doing a job that is to an end goal. And so they're like a team. I feel like the people that I work with on a regular basis are miserable at their jobs. I mean, not miserable at their jobs, but it's just, there's no joy. I know that sounds like I'm being cheesy. And you know what? I don't want to do accounting and bookkeeping and financial stuff. And for some reason, I've got sucked back. I mean, I know the reason. I was talking to Billy, who's my brother from another mother. And I was like, I don't know how I got myself back into this. I'm so mad at myself. He's like, bitch, you got to pay the rent, honey. That's how you got yourself into this. I was it's like,
Yep.
okay, you're not wrong. You know what I mean? So, but I made the decision about a week ago and I came to terms with it this past weekend. Like, I'm doing this for another year and I'm done. You know, like, I don't care what that means. If I have to move in with Cynthia, hey, but I'm going to do this for another year and I'm out. And okay, I'll say this part and then I want to get to Cynthia and her work week. I don't want to waste this much time doing something I don't love. And if you spend time doing this all the time, this is what you become. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that's what we're supposed to be doing. No matter how good you are at your job, no matter how much you bring to the table, I just feel like there's something else that I'm supposed to be doing. And maybe it's more of this and maybe not, because this isn't, I played the lottery today too. So who knows? You know what I mean? But we'll see. But Cynthia, what about you? I know you love what you do, but
Okay, so I don't love what I do. I love some of the people I work with, but I feel the same way. Like I feel like I'm at a point right now where I'm thinking the same thing. Like I just want to be here for a little bit longer. Once I come back from my vacation in June, if I haven't gone into grad school, then I'm looking for another job.
But Cynthia, so you are going to grad school though, right? I'm confused now.
Well, I haven't gotten accepted yet because I still have to do the GREs, which is like a SAT type of thing for grad school. So, depending on that, and if I get in, will determine in July whether I'm going to start looking for another job or I'll be starting school in the fall.
Wait, but didn't you go to school and work at the same time before? Oh, but you don't want to do that no more.
Yeah, but no, I don't want to do that no more. In grad school, what I'm going for, it's in class. You can't really do it online because you have to be with cadavers and you have to do all this other research and stuff.
Oh yeah, let's also tell everyone what you want to be doing.
Forensic anthropology.
Okay, dead bodies. That's all I heard, right? Isn't that what everybody heard? I want to work with dead bodies, right? That's all I heard.
If that doesn't work, she could star in the next version of the show Bones.
Is there another version of the show Bones?
No.
Oh, I was like,
we can create our own.
We'll have it now. Yeah, I loved that show.
I'll be the geeky guy. Just kidding.
What do you mean the geeky guy? The one who is actually a murderer?
Tech guy.
Oh, I didn't see the whole thing. Was he really?
He actually becomes a murderer.
This is a different version.
Yeah, you should watch the show.
Spoiler alert.
Well, actually, what I was going to say was Ryan O'Neal played the father of Tempest. What's her name? Tempest Brennan, right?
Yeah.
Who's that's the character name of the show. And she's the lead. What is she? Forensic, blah, 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 anthropologist. What Cynthia wants to be. And he played the father and he just passed away in December. Right.
Yeah.
So may he rest in sweet peace.
But yeah, I mean, my job has lately become very, I can't say unbearable because, you do what you have to do because like you said, you got bills to pay, but I'm starting to see a lot of favoritism happening and
what do you mean?
Like that.
Well,
so
I mean, do they not watch this show? Everyone in your office? No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly, I don't know.
I'm like, be careful what you say. We're like huge, okay?
I don't say any names, but apparently other people have been seeing it
really?
too. So, and like passive aggressive comments, and I'm just like, so I keep to myself and just do my work. And once I'm off at 4:30, 4:29 hits, I'm checked out.
I made a mistake the other day. Accidentally, I sent a document to the wrong person and it revealed information they shouldn't have known. And it was a mistake. And I know I did it because I was trying to do too much. I was trying to, because I mean, just to give everyone a little flavor, I have different clients. So like, let's say Monday morning, I go see one client in the morning, then I have to drive across town. I see another client by 1:00. And then at 1:00, I'm, in a meeting or whatever. And then I leave that client and I'll come back home, I'll eat dinner. And then I'm reading emails for my Tuesday client, right? It's kind of like when you have a small business, that kind of is what happens. And then you do the same system again. And I'm not complaining because I have work and I get paid fairly well for what I do, but the other night I got home and I was trying to, do this stuff. And anyway, I ended up sending the wrong document to the wrong person. And that's not a mistake you ever want to make. You can imagine the ramifications of what kind of document I might be talking about. But, thankfully this person was pretty cool about it. It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's all good, But that's how I was like, you know what? It's got to stop because I'm eating dinner and I'm trying to scan stuff and I'm like, whoa, when did that happen?
Yeah. And it's so easy for it to happen because, of course, I work in the hospital. So, you have to be very careful to put the wrong, paperwork or document in someone else's chart. So we have someone who does some of our faxes, online and stuff like that. She'll go and put them in the chart. And it's been a couple of times that she's put the wrong document in someone's chart. And, you have to call medical records. You have to make sure they fix it. And it's a big process. But, it's like something like that can get into the wrong hands and you're giving someone's information. And mistakes do happen, but it happens when you're doing too much.
And like I emailed him today and of course I just apologized, but I couldn't sleep all night. Because I was like, I can't believe I did that. It wasn't even that I was stressed because I was like, it's done. What am I going to do? Like you only have 30 seconds in Google to retrieve your document. And even then you don't know if you got it back, and I didn't even do it fast enough. And it, I knew it gone, but I felt so bad because it was such a stupid, careless mistake because I'm tired and I don't love what I do. On the flip side, I'll be up at 2 a.m. editing that podcast. I was going to say stupid podcast.
I saw that.
My podcast is not stupid. But like I'll be up at 2 a.m, on a Saturday night to be like trying to, and I'll be like, I got to get it together, whatever. And just hoping and listening to it for like the 19th time to make sure it's at the best I can do. It's never perfect. And I make mistakes, I'm sure, but and I'll be fine with that. But I'm telling you, I think after I've been doing this since 2000. Well, 1995, I got here. So let's say I really got into the rhythm of it in 1999. But yeah, let's say 2000, I've been doing this same kind of work and intermittently doing acting or whatever. I don't even have time for that no more. You know what I mean? Like, what? Acting? Well, I want to write my second book. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to do stuff. And I'm like, this is not smart what I'm doing. Somehow I got right back into it. So how do we take the steps for you guys to do? Well, you know what, Rick, we didn't ask you. Ultimately, what would you want to be doing?
Honestly, kind of what I do online, the whole ministry type of thing and helping people that way and sharing, the knowledge that I have. Is a lot of people that are new to the faith and they don't know nothing.
But why don't you just scam people like other people do and make a lot of money? Why don't you just be like, here's an ointment that will help you. If you love the Lord, this is $59.95. And I'll be your actress so I can work on my acting skills. You can anoint me. I'll pay. I just want 10%. That's all. We'll get Cynthia involved. She can do some advertising for us with her beautiful artwork. Hey, I'm just so kidding. It goes against
funny.
nature. Go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's what like I sometimes say to people. Like people say, like, how do you do this every day? You've been doing this for 8 years, never missed a day. How do you do that? And like, isn't that a lot of work? And I'm like, no, for me, I enjoy doing that. I like it. I get it's I don't want to say entertaining, but I do get joy out of doing it, and it's an outlet for me, and I can just be my goofy self with people, and just be me. I feel like I'm more me when I'm doing that, and I think that's kind of a key thing. Like, what do you feel like you more when you're doing whatever that is?
That's interesting.
So, can I ask you, how come you never got into like the actual ministry, like into the actual to become a priest or a pastor, or how come you never?
I mean, I was in church till my mom, the whole mom dementia thing. So I was like Sundays, Wednesdays, another day for choir practice, and my church is an hour away. So that was a lot of gas money, and I was very involved. So yeah, and people would accidentally, including the pastor himself, say, Pastor Rick, and I'm like, It happened all the time. So that's why when I went to Periscope and started broadcasting, then people started doing it there. I'm like,
I used to call you
okay,
Pastor Rick because I thought you were a pastor. And then you were like, oh, I'm not a pastor.
yeah.
I'm like, well, bitch, I'm calling you Rick then. I was like, you were a pastor.
But so many people kept,
Go online. I'm sure you can become
oh
one real quick.
yeah, you definitely can pay for that. Yeah. But like so many people kept doing it. And like, I'm like, okay, are you trying to tell me something? Like, what's going on? And then I was just like, you know what? Whatever. If you want to do that, if that's how you view me, okay, that's what
Yeah,
I
I
am,
don't
I
view you
guess.
like that no more. But you guys can call me Pastor Carmen. I'd like that. Or Goddess. You can call me Goddess Carmen. That'll work.
Your Highness. How about Your Highness? Is that
Your
work?
Highness works. Your
Your
Highness. Your
Majesty.
Majesty.
Your Majesty.
All those things. Or you could just say, hey, beautiful. Hey, beautiful queen. I'm good with that.
Queen is good.
So, I mean, I think you and I have talked about this before, Rick, about like how the ways in which we can turn around and find a way for you to gather an income. I think the problem is, and this is the same thing with me, it's like I don't want to sell something like on TikTok. If you go on TikTok, every 5 minutes they're telling you to become a creator person or whatever and join up. And I'm like, I have no interest whatsoever to do it that way. I'm not a salesperson and I don't want to sell somebody else's candle. Like, I don't understand. You know who I'm talking about, right? What's the guy with the axe who's always doing the wood? He's so hot. You know who I'm talking about? Okay, Rick's like,
I don't know
no,
his
I do
name.
not know who he is.
Trying to think.
There's a guy on, I know most people who have TikTok know who I'm talking about, and even the men will not deny it, but there's a guy on TikTok who he cuts wood. That's his whole thing. And he's muscular and he always has his shirt off and he has all those tats. And just recently he started selling a candle and a spray.
What does it smell like?
I don't know, because that I did not buy. Although I was tempted. But what was weird is and it sold out really fast because, you know, everybody wanted it. And it's supposed to smell like the woods or something. I mean, he's actually really cool guy. I forget his name. I know somebody's going to know it. But long story short, then he said, look, at the best thing about doing what I do is that now you can also, if you like the candle or whatever, you can buy it and you can also sell it yourself and get a percentage. And I'm like, so TikTok is doing that. So if I buy something from somebody else, like I bought that book, I could go in and do like a little advertising, put the link at the bottom, and then you get a little revenue from selling that as well as they get it. Chris just said, Rick is gathering riches in heaven. When you do what God's called you to do, it's enough. Okay. I'm just saying he could have a little bit here too. That's all I'm saying. I believe you. I'm just saying the Lord works in mysterious ways. And I hope it's in a way that he can find more joy, you know, and wealth in that way. But I agree with you. But it's just not something I want to do. Like, I don't want to sell on TikTok or, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cynthia's thinking about it. Cynthia's like, so let me see what I can sell.
Nah.
Yeah.
Well, how could you, Cynthia, do what you have to do? So, I mean, I've put this out there a few times with people about if anybody who works with dead people have a connection. My cousin Cynthia is looking for a job in that area. So, okay, that's not the right way to say it. It's not dead stuff. Funeral homes, no.
Morgue.
Oh, that sounds so wrong. You would work in a morgue.
Or you know, crime scenes. Let's put it that way. How about that? Crime
Wait, what do
scene.
you mean a crime scene? You would
go work with the police and do crime, just like
NCIS,
Bones.
like Bones and NCIS. They go out into the thing.
Yeah, I do
Yeah,
that
it still
too.
doesn't sit right with me. But if anybody out there knows of somebody who might have a connection in the whole death industry, please reach out because Cynthia would like her foot in the door. It's just so wrong.
You definitely have to be a certain type of person to, you know, like doing that, because the majority of people probably are like, ew, but you know, some people are like, no, it's fascinating, it's interesting to me, and that's them. That's cool.
It's funny because one of the doctors I work for, you know, she was asking me what I wanted to do, and I'm telling her, she's like, ew, that's so gross. I'm like, you deal with them alive. I don't deal with them when they're dead.
They can't talk back to me. They can't yell at me. They
Exactly.
can't hit me.
I knew somebody, I mean, I didn't really know them, but I remember way back in the day, they used to do makeup for the Like you don't realize everything that's involved
Yeah.
when somebody dies, but they do all the makeup
Oh yeah.
for the person who has passed away. And I was like just thinking like foundation, whatever. And when you spoke to this person, this was like a friend of a friend. I remember this woman, Tanya, was my friend, and then she introduced me to this person. And I was just like, I'll never forget it. You know what I mean? I was like, but I was just grossed out, like, but she said that it was harder because it's a different type of makeup and a different type of thing to make people look as natural as possible. I'm like, I believe you. I believe you. I believe you.
I remember my cousin, she died when she was like 34, and she died of cancer. And when you get cancer, usually you like wither away to nothing, So they're like, give us pictures and stuff. What did she look like when she was healthy? Da, da, da. And then you get to the place and you see her, and you're like, wow. Of course, you're sad because there's your dead relative, but at the same time, you're like, they did an amazing job. She looked so much better.
Yeah.
And it's like with her, it was cool. It was nice. They made her look really, really nice. Her stepmother, I said, police. What happened? What happened? This is not good.
We're all taking words from Terry K. We gotta give love to that TikToker, man. Because I'm always saying I'm confusion now. Like I can't or I love this for us. And now Rick is like, police. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Why did she look horrible? She looked worse.
I was like,
dead.
I wasn't even sure if it was her. I was like, what did y'all do?
That's too bad.
Yeah,
it was
It wasn't a professional then.
That
wasn't a
Yeah,
professional.
it was not good.
Wow, this isn't the way I thought this conversation would go today. But so the plan.
It's a part of life. It's a part of life.
No, I know. And look, I do want this for you because I know it's something you really want to do, and I love that you want this. I don't know where you get it from. Is it the solving of the crime, or is it really the dead body part?
No, I think it's more of solving the crime or solving like why they passed, things like that.
Chris just said, oh yeah, mortuary cosmetologist, very specialized occupation. Yes. And I'm look at as much as I'm creeped out about it, it's mostly because I don't want to ever be comfortable with losing people. I think that's really what it is. Like you start analyzing all the people who've died in your life or whatever. Like the first thought in my head was like, oh my God, when my mom died, did they do that? I didn't even see her. You know what I mean? Like I start thinking those things. But yeah, I mean, no disrespect. I think it's as much as I make fun of Cynthia, it's not, I'm impressed. I don't understand where she gets it from. And you've been saying this for years. It's not like a new thing. This is what you've always wanted to do. I wanted to be a dancer. Cynthia wanted to be I still don't know what it is. A working with dead person thing. I'm just saying, tomato. We all have different lives.
Chris said either way, spiritual or creepy.
Right. I mean, you would work in a funeral home or a mortuary. What are other places, like cemeteries? No. You don't want to work at a cemetery.
In the hospital, I mean,
hospital.
Yeah.
Why can't you get a connection through your work? I'm confused by this.
It's funny because I have asked around and not one single person that I know someone who works in the morgue. How funny is that?
Could you go down there, like, bring your lunch or whatever and be like, hey, I work upstairs.
What's up? How you doing?
Just want to have lunch with you and these people,
I'm thinking
what's going on.
I'm thinking of NCIS, like, you know what I mean? Like Gibbs comes down in the elevator. Like, I know that's not I don't know if you guys watch NCIS, but it cracks me up because I'm pretty sure everybody doesn't come down to the mortuary and sit around and chit chat with a dead body. Like the other night I was watching it, there was like 4 dead bodies sitting there and they're all just chit chatting about, the crime scene. But it was weird. It's way too comfortable. Like I know that's not what happens. So your goals this year is to, hey Keith, how are you? Happy Thursday. Welcome. So your idea, Cynthia, right now is you're taking your GREs when?
In April.
In April. Did that book send you help?
It's helping.
I have to take credit as much as possible because when you become very successful and famous and whatever, I want to make sure that you remember and everyone knows that it was all me buying you one little book. That's all I'm saying. Brian just said in high school, I was in wood shop and I wanted to be a casket maker, big money. Really? Wow. Hi, Brian. How you doing? Howdy, y'all. Wow. That's, you know what? I don't think we take into account all the jobs that are involved in death.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Ed.
All about the joy. All about the joy. Hey, oh, that's Ed?
Yeah.
This is Ed who works at a funeral place.
Came at the perfect time.
Oh.
It's Keith, though, right?
Keith is, I think, the real name, yeah.
You know what? I've reached out to you too many times, Ed, and you have not responded. This is my cousin Cynthia who wants to be in the death industry. I don't know how to say it. If you could please connect with her and help her. She's been wanting to do this for like 20 years. And this is her. Okay, Keith, Cynthia, Keith. We know him as Ed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, hi. I always forget that his name is Keith. But yeah, it's so funny to have this conversation. So you take your GREs in April. And if you pass, it's all because of me. If you fail, I had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how that's going to go.
Can be, yeah.
What? I can't read
Never
that.
thought, but those caskets are very detailed, like art pieces.
Yeah, they really are.
That I do remember, unfortunately, because I've gone to too many funerals. But yeah, I just, you take it for granted. You take it for granted what's involved in that whole entire process,
Yeah.
So if you pass the GREs, then you go into school in August.
Well, hopefully, I have to send that in with my application. If I get accepted, then I'll go in school in the fall.
In the fall. Okay. So, Brian said, I did a report about the mortuary business and learned a lot. In some parts of Africa, when the person has passed away, their coffin is their occupation. Oh.
I don't think I understand.
So I think it's made into the, right? Like they make the coffin in kind of
design.
It represents what they did in life, the coffin, like design.
See, that just made me more sad.
I think Egyptians do that too.
I want my coffin to be something other than like, she did organizational management. Like that's, please make mine a dancer or a performer, please. I don't care, please. Please. What were you saying, Cynthia? I'm sorry. What area is she currently? What mortuary school are you planning to attend? She's in Boston, and I don't think she's going to mortuary school. Cynthia, why don't you talk to Keith now?
So I'm applying to BU Medical.
This is so weird. Ed, if you want to come up, you can come up. Rick, can you send him the link? I don't think I'm friends with him on Facebook.
I probably am, I think.
He must be friends with one of us.
Yeah, gotta be.
If Ed would like to come up, that would be great. But you're not going to mortuary school. You're going to...
For forensic anthropology. So hopefully I'll get into BU Medical.
Okay. Well, if he wants to come up, that's great. Either way, I will try to connect you again because I've tried. That would be a great connection. And then if you don't decide to go to school for whatever reason, because I know it's not as easy as like you pass a test, you go, whatever, it's all money too and blah, 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 whatever. You're just going to try to change your job trajectory into the field that you want to go in, just getting your foot in the door no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just basically getting out where I am now, getting out of there.
Yeah. So my whole plan is I'm going to win the lottery this weekend. It's just going to happen. I'm going to put that out there, the energy. I'm going to go on my vacaciones. Okay. I'm going to come back and I'm going to be like, and I'm done. I'm going to do it. That's my plan. We'll see if it works this time. You know what I mean? Let me see. Brian said coffins are beautiful works of art. I have design. You have designs for your coffin. Wow.
Okay.
I can come up for a few minutes heading home. Okay. Oh, great. Were you able to send him the link? Oh, you can meet Ed. I didn't call him Ed. Didn't we call him?
We used to call him Ed, but his real name's Keith. Yeah. So Brian thinks ahead. He got his coffin planned. Wow. I ain't think about that.
Oh, Brian, you have to share. We want to see it.
Yeah, well, do we really? I don't want to see it.
Carmen doesn't want to see it.
I don't want to see people's coffins. I'm just getting comfortable with the idea of my cousin working in the death industry. Okay, that's not the right way to say that. What is the right way to say it? Not the death industry. That's not right. Forensic anthropology
Yes.
thingamajiggy. Yeah. Okay.
Just forensics.
Forensics. Right. Burial or cremation, Cynthia? Which one are you going to do?
Honestly, I haven't decided yet. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Rick?
I used to be burial, period. But now I'm like, I don't know if I care either way because I ain't gonna be here anymore. Do whatever you want.
I'm cremation. I'm just too claustrophobic to be in a coffin. It makes no sense. I know. I'd rather be.
Oh my gosh.
She'd rather be burned in a box.
That reminds me of a Ricky Smiley skit he did where he played the old lady because he always does that. And she said, me and my husband want to come down. We want to look at caskets for when it's time for him to go. And we just want to know what we could do. First, we want to fit him for one. Like, you want to climb in it? She's like, yeah, we just want to make sure he's going to be comfortable. Like, and in case he get hungry, we want to put some little Debbies in there and put a radio on there in case he gets bored. Like, what are you doing? It was really funny.
Oh, I did not see this.
And he's talking to a real person at a funeral home. Like, they don't know it's a joke.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Wow. You know what? I'm like crying. It's moving my contacts. That's actually
God. See, I always used to think I was going to be buried like with my mom. But then I'm like, even though this may sound horrible, I don't think I want to be buried anymore because I feel like nobody would come visit me because honestly, I know, again, it sounds bad. I don't visit my mom. I don't visit my grandma.
Well, they're not really there, are they? They're not there.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I think I might be cremated.
Well, you know where I want my ashes spread, right?
Yes.
Everybody who's come to California, it's part of the tour.
Knows the exact spot.
It's so sad. You know what's even worse is like my godchildren are all like, "Oh my God, we know." Poor Juliana, I think, was like every time we walk by, it is like since she was 3. Like, it's overlooking the ocean. It's really beautiful. You have to be very careful because it's against the law to do it, which makes no sense to me. But whatever, you guys could just do it. What they gonna do? Make you pick it up? Hello, you know what I mean? So. Sorry. What do you girls do for a living? Oh, I'm gonna tell you in a second, but let me bring him up. How are you?
Oh, the best day of my life. How are you?
I'm doing good, Cynthia. Meet Ed. Ed, meet Cynthia. Thank you for coming up.
Hello. How are you guys? What's up?
Good.
Good. How are you?
You know what? I never called you Ed. I called you Mr. Edward.
Yeah, either one. Hello, Rick. How you doing, brother?
You're good. How are you?
Oh, the best day of my life. Good seeing you. Hello, Cynthia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Can you tell her a little bit about what you do and share with everyone?
Oh, well, I've been in the death care profession for 35 years, and I own a company that works with funeral homes and cemeteries and crematories throughout the United States. I also do international shipping where we ship bodies around the world. What I do.
So you guys could connect and you could maybe give her some advice. Would that be cool? I'd really appreciate that. I'd owe you one.
Oh, yeah. But the difference is that she is going to be working in the hospital, which is outside of the funeral profession itself. But what happened is a lot of hospitals actually have their own places when people pass, and we go and do removals from hospitals, nursing homes. So the advice I can give her, it depends on if she wants to work in the coroner's office in Boston or somewhere else. We have contacts there. We also have some funeral homes in Boston if she wants to, when she goes through schooling, that she may want to do a residency where she can go and do some work and work with some funeral directors already. We can do some of those things to get her some exposure. But while she's in school, the school may also have those kind of co-ops also.
Right.
Some of those schools have programs like here in California, UCLA have a program where people can go through and work with funeral homes and work with people that's doing that, reconstructive surgery when people have accidents and stuff like that. So there's all different kind of things from embalming, cremation, just depending on what people choose. But your path is not funeral homes. Your path is medical, right?
Yeah, basically, I'd be going to school for forensic anthropology.
Okay, yeah. So that's the difference of the field. Most of our funeral embalmers and funeral directors are licensed embalmers, and they actually work with the remains of people that passed away. They're not really doing forensics in reference to the law. So it's just being
Yeah, yeah.
I still feel like this is a really good connection. I'm just saying. But how are you? Wait, it's death care. See, I wasn't saying the right word. I love how you just taught me that death care.
Yeah. It's called the death care. It's called the death care profession. That's what it is. So when people pass away, we celebrate their life. We don't mourn their death. That's what death care is, and we help families have the talk of a lifetime, because a lot of people never sit down and have the conversation. So we deal with end of life matters because end of life matters. That's what we do every single day.
Right.
I love that. How are you doing? I know today's the best day of your life because you are the embodiment of positivity and joy. But how have you been doing since the last time we saw you?
We've been doing great. We have a new grandchild, Aaliyah Love, our daughter and her husband, February 5th, 9:15 p.m. had 8 pound, 11 ounces, 20 inches, brand new baby
And the
girl.
name is Aaliyah. What's her name? Aaliyah Love?
Aaliyah Love, yeah.
See, that's a good name.
Love.
That's a good name, okay?
I love it.
Just like like our other granddaughter, her name is Kiara Faye. She's number 2 in the United States in kit cars. She drives 60 miles an hour at 8 years old, but she wants to be a Formula One driver. So that's probably where most of my wife has decided to invest her money.
Wow. Okay. So at 8 years old, racing cars, and wow. Okay, that is amazing.
So since that time, our son-in-law and our daughter also passed the California bar exam. So they're both attorneys. They just had their thing. And my son, who has been a mechanical engineer, actually works in the ports of Long Beach as a logistic manager, making sure that things are being taken care of. And his wife is also a what we call short haul. She hauls different products here locally from all over Southern California, all the way up to Fresno, Sacramento, and back. It's all day trips. So you can go for 5 hours one way and 5 hours back. So
wow. So you are having the best life ever. Wow. I'm so happy for you.
Well, it's I credit my wife because she is the one who is the CEO of our family. I call her the chief encouragement officer. She keeps us all together, and she encourages us all to be the best we can be. And I'm just happy that she chose me. That's all. I'm very proud of her.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. I'm just so glad we got to see you and that you came up, and I'm glad you got to meet Cynthia. I'll exchange you guys emails again, so maybe you guys can connect if that's okay.
Of course, but you said you're trying to contact me. I don't know where you try to contact me at.
You have, yes, your emails. You know what? I also have your phone number, but I didn't bother you with your phone number, but I can give her your phone number.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, you should have. Yeah, of course. You should have texted me, though, because I think the email that I give on social media is my AOL account. So I don't check that often because I just go in and out of there, and I don't have that on my phone as notification.
Okay, I didn't want to be rude and do the text thing, because the last time I asked if we could do the email, but I will exchange text messages with the two of you, and I'm very grateful, and I will owe you one.
Yeah, you don't owe me anything. I mean, if I have an opportunity to give her access to certain things, like I said, the school that she's probably. Are you going to Boston? What school are you going to be going to?
Well, I'm applying to BU Medical.
Oh, BU. Okay, Boston University. Okay, so you should. The school will have a lot of programs. Make sure you get a hold of a counselor. Just ask them if you could work within the hospitals. A lot of the hospital.
Well, she works in a hospital right now.
Do you know the decedent administrator? Because all hospitals have a decedent staff.
And I don't know.
Yeah, so you should go. So you should go and introduce yourself to the decedent administrator, And that person will have a lot of contacts because they're the one who actually control the remains of where they go and how they're facilitated to the different mortuaries within Boston.
Okay.
So, and that just gives you some more insight. And also find out if your hospital has a social worker that work in the death care space.
Okay.
I love that. See, that makes it better. Death care space. I knew I wasn't off. I kept calling it the death industry, but that was wrong. Death care space.
Yeah, we don't have any widgets.
No.
We don't.
But here's the thing. I knew I had heard it from you before, but I wasn't making it. I heard it from someone. It had to be you. Who else have I spoken to about this subject? Nobody. It's you or her.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one. I think I'm the only one you ever interviewed about
This is true. We should do another interview. I mean, it's kind of like we're doing it now, but I would love to do another formal interview with you, maybe in the private lounge. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. But wasn't the thought process, and I could be wrong, Cynthia, wasn't the thought process that you wanted to move into at least being part of that, even though they're two different industries, this would be closer to being around. I don't know how to say it correctly. I don't need to speak for you. Go ahead.
Death care. No, it's death care profession. Yeah. It's okay. But based on what you said, Cynthia, I just want to make sure you're going because you want to be a forensic scientist, correct? In death care. That's the difference. Yeah. So when we deal in the death care space, we're dealing more with just the embalming, one line item, dressing and casketing, which is completely different. Some of them are doing autopsy. Some of them do what we call reconstructive surgery. If people want to view their loved one after an accident and they went through a windshield or something like that, or they had a lot of glass in their face, they can go and reconstruct it. Just all different kinds of things. Burn victims, people who got burned and they still want to have a viewing. Those are the kind of things we do outside of just the forensic part. As I said, forensics deals with more of the crime.
Right. My God, this is so not how I thought this was going to go, but all about the joy. But we cover all subjects here. So great. We have a question from somebody, from Wolfie. Well, it's Doug, but I call him Wolfie. Quite often after a loved one's death, there can be all kinds of family drama. I wonder, Edward, what's the wildest thing you've seen in your industry?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, family have a lot of dynamics. But we have a lot of famous people here in California. So the wildest thing is that John Wayne's grave went unmarked for 9 years because it was in probate that long.
Wow. I didn't know that. Where's he buried?
So, Pacific View Memorial Park in Newport Beach, California.
Yeah. Wow. Huh.
But that shows you that a lot of people, unfortunately, 2 out of every 3 Americans dies without a will or a trust. Mm-hmm. And they leave their family with a bill, not a will. So when you do that, you have a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. So it's very important that you get your trust or will together so that people know explicitly how you want things handled. At the same time, make sure you get all your arrangements done with the local funeral home or local cemetery or local crematory in advance. That means it's outside of your traditional insurance, because most people don't realize that traditional insurance was never designed to bury you. It was designed to replace the income of the person that passed away.
Right.
But people use it to lay their loved ones to rest, and then the surviving person does not have that money to maintain the same lifestyle.
Right. I've also always said this because it's one of the reasons why I ended up in the situation it is, because there was no plan, right? Because no one expects to ever pass away. And that's what happened to my mom. And so I've always had a will, even if you have no money or you don't own anything. I review my will and everything around my birthday in January. So I've always been a big proponent of that. Chris said, God, even with a will, it takes so much time.
Yeah, that's the executive. That's called, so we have 3 different things. You have when death occurs, which we call the arrangement conference. Then we have aftercare. That's the grief part. And then we have after reach. After reach is the 17 things that must be done after a death occurs. 17 legal things to remove a decedent's name, or we call the honoree, off of all legal procedures. That's for the executor or the next of kin. That's the part that's pretty gnarly. It could take up to a year to get all that stuff transferred.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, even people like Aretha Franklin and Prince.
No will. Yeah, none of them had arrangements. But the sad part about it is most of them didn't have a will, even though they have publicists that could have done that. But at the same time, most people, like you said, they're not thinking about the fact that one day they're going to pass away. And one thing that's going to happen to all of us, we're going to pass away someday.
Yes.
So just
We're
what it
all
is.
gonna at some point, so be prepared. Wolfie just said, I'm
Yeah.
getting ready to retire, turning 66 tomorrow. But before
Happy
that, my
birthday.
goal is to get my estate stuff all taken care of, including a will and setting powers of attorney. Exactly.
Good. But make sure whatever type of arrangements he wants, that he does not eliminate that, because you got to make sure you make, if you want to be cemetery arrangements or you want to be cremated or you want to have a service, make sure you do that, because most people don't realize a will and trust is read after you are laid to rest,
Right.
not before.
Right. Oh, that's so good information. That's right. We've talked about this before, but I forget how people don't know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's unfamiliar. It's one of the most unfamiliar topics in America, because most people only in their lifetime may make one or two arrangements with somebody. They either make it for themselves or someone else who passed. And most of the time they're making those arrangements is when someone has passed away and they're doing it in the middle of a crisis. And 99% of the time they don't remember most of the stuff because they're just trying to facilitate 72 hours of getting somebody.
That's right. And you're emotional, you're sad, it's so much harder to deal with things then.
Yeah. We call it stranger danger. That's what we call it in the death care profession, stranger danger.
You love this industry, huh?
Well, I love it because it's what I've done for 35 years. It's what I do to make a living. It's not who I am. So obviously, it's just something that I do to make a living. I'll retire from this someday, but I will not retire from life.
That's right. You just bring so much joy. You're just such a positive person. And I've always known that when I first met you. I just think I love kind of the energy. You know what I mean? It's kind of what we try to do here at All About the Joy. This is not the subject I thought we were going to talk about, but I love it because it's still on a high note and happiness and joy. And it's all like you're talking about something we should be doing that has to do with something that makes us all very sad to think about and nobody wants to talk about it. And I'm feeling good about it. Like that's the energy you bring.
That's the beauty of responsibility. I think responsibility should be joyful. It shouldn't be something negative. I think when people are responsible is what we're supposed to be doing. I think people have a difficulty of looking at responsibilities and not realizing that when you make a choice for the better and it benefits you, it's a good thing. I don't think anybody should be disappointed when you make a good choice. That's all.
So good. Wow.
Would you say this is fair to say that if you really love your loved ones, you will do everything you can to make sure this is all taken care of ahead of time so that when you do pass, all they got to do is just the grief part and not so much paperwork and stuff?
Correct. That my wife and I have already done it. We have crypts and stuff, but we don't want to leave this to our children or our grandchildren. It's not their responsibility. We do believe that every child should inherit something from their parents, but one thing a child should never inherit is the responsibility of laying their parents to rest.
Mm.
And yet, most of the time, that's what ends up happening.
Yep.
67% of the time, a child or the surviving spouse is laying the person to rest, and they don't even know what the person wanted because they never had the talk of a lifetime.
Right.
Mm.
God, I feel like I have to go look at my paperwork again. I just did it in January. I got to look at it again and just make sure. But I just got insurance to go on my trip. And I had to put a beneficiary, whatever. And it's all these things that you do, you know what I mean? And it's true. You have to be responsible. And I didn't think about it that way, Edward. I love this line that you said, and I'm going to hack it, but you're going to have to tell me. You said being responsible is being, what did you say? Positive? What did you say?
No, being responsible is the benefit. You choose to be responsible. There's nothing wrong with the benefit
Right.
of choosing to do what's right.
Yeah.
You know, I tend to think that people look at responsibility as a negative.
That's right.
No, responsibility is a good thing. You know, when you protect yourself, it's a really good
Right.
thing. You know, so most people today, they don't have that conversation.
Mhm.
But I always tell them, being responsible, there's nothing wrong with it. We have enough irresponsibility in the world already. We don't need any more.
That's
of it.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, all these good things. See, I always forget this stuff about you. Right? You write it down. You got to write it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got good quotes.
There's
for
a
sure.
lesson in all of it, man. It's all so good. So we're at the hour mark. So I'm gonna. It went so fast.
Well,
It really did.
I stay a little longer, but Rick and Carmen and Cynthia, it's very nice meeting you. And Carmen, you can give her any information. Anything I could try to do, give you access when you get to school and you get accepted or whatever.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Just remember, what you do to make a living is not who you are, but always bring integrity to the job.
Yes. This is true. Thank you so much,
you.
Edward. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you, Rick, brother. Always good to see you, man.
You too.
Very good to see you, man. Always.
Well.
We're right now in a big fight, so continue.
Fight. Uh-oh.
No, I'm just talking about the world.
Oh, okay.
I'm like,
gotcha.
wait, what? Like, did I miss a fight?
No. Rick understands when I say the spiritual warfare that's going on in the world. Just a lot of things happening right now, especially all around the world. My wife and I have been traveling. Actually, we're getting ready to go to Sydney, Australia, New Zealand.
Nice.
And that's because they just opened up the country after 36 months.
Yeah.
So kind of crazy.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining All About the Joy. We'll see you next week for sure. I'm so grateful that everyone stopped by. We'll definitely see you next week. And as always, thank you. Bye, everyone. Thanks for stopping by All About the Joy. Be better and stay beautiful, folks. Have a sweet day.